we're asked to remind listeners that those in possession of Aurora are subject to fines and/or imprisonment, and is a clear threat to public safety. Details are still coming in on the epic confrontation between the Crimson Fleet and SysDef. We can confirm from an anonymous source that indeed SysDef's flagship, the Vigilance, is now in the hands of the Crimson Fleet. Attacking the Crimson Fleet in their home system has been widely criticized, but our source says they didn't have a choice. The Crimson Fleet came into a huge amount of money, enough to change the balance of power. And now the settled systems are still reeling from the near destruction of SysDef, and it's unclear how dire things will be in the future. The pirate who took down the Vigilance was almost gleeful when they told us, "I'm a pirate, and it was great to finally show my true colors." As the Crimson Fleet still celebrates, here in civilized space we can only wait and see what comes next. Deep in space, the enigmatic collector Captain Petrov was the target of a daring robbery. Captain Petrov, who has been under investigation on various counts of possession of illegal cultural artifacts and stolen goods, found what some may say is karmic justice. A mysterious artifact, unearthed by persons unknown, was the target of the theft. Also on board was an exotic collection of animals whose cages were opened, unleashing what sources have called a zoo gone wild. SSNN is still looking into the identity and whereabouts of the thief. SSNN correspondent Nora Vasquez on the ground in Aquila City has reported an increase in attacks by the Shaw Gang. The notorious bandit gang, reportedly based out of the wild somewhere outside the city, has thus far eluded capture by the Freestar Rangers. Members of the gang continue to infiltrate the city, harassing, robbing, and in one instance even murdering one of the residents. The Freestar Rangers have so far refused to comment to SSNN on what steps, if any, are being taken to secure Aquila City. Should any United Colony citizens need to venture to the capital of Freestar Collective Space, remain extra vigilant. For years, Allied Armaments has been the premier supplier of private firearms. But this coveted position may be slipping. Laredo Firearms has been ramping up production in Aquila City and are taking away market share. And it's not just Laredo that's a threat. Core Kinetics and Combatech have been making gains as well. Once considered an effective, even essential element in combating some of the settled system's most dangerous threats, it would seem the mercenary company known as Ecliptic is now one of those threats. Everyone, it would seem, is now in their sights, from the pirates of the Crimson Fleet to civilian merchant vessels they claim have violated some law. Freestar Collective and United Colonies authorities appear hesitant to officially clamp down on Ecliptic, citing a lack of evidence, and the fact that they occasionally still employ the services of the contract company. The latest concert of Hazani Lux and the Luxites sold out in a record 0.8 seconds. Hot off their latest album, already scalped ticket prices for the concert are 3 times face value. When contacted, the Luxites agent said, "It's going to be one heck of a show. Remember, get their music wherever slates are sold." Journalistic integrity at its finest. SSNN. other news, Varun zealots have been sighted in the Moloch, Zosma, Ophion, and Akaran systems. The Settled Systems News Network. News you can trust. Deep in space, the enigmatic collector Captain Petrov was the target of a daring robbery. Captain Petrov, who has been under investigation on various counts of possession of illegal cultural artifacts and stolen goods, found what some may say is karmic justice. A mysterious artifact, unearthed by persons unknown, was the target of the theft. Also on board was an exotic collection of animals whose cages were opened, unleashing what sources have called a zoo gone wild. SSNN is still looking into the identity and whereabouts of the thief. Bad news for the League of Independent Settlers, or LIST. A prospective colonist family used LIST resources to find a new home, a remote moon filled with life and ideal for farming. The only problem is that moon does not exist. So instead of starting a new life, free of rules and completely self-reliant, the family returned to New Atlantis and filed a lawsuit. LIST told our reporter it was a simple data entry error. It should have been listed as 3B instead of 2B.
If I
We're
move
just
back
a
to Neon,
resource,
I'd
and we're
miss New
not
Atlantis
liable.
like crazy.
That was little comfort to the irate would-be colonists. A shootout in Sidonia. An unnamed tracker opened fire on their mark in the middle of a busy spaceport. Although no one was injured except the tracker's target, this newest spate of violence has renewed the call for stricter regulation of the tracker's alliance. The alliance released a press statement saying that the mark was accurate and the tracker in question didn't hurt anyone. But if history is any judge, it's only a matter of time before an incident occurs with a more tragic outcome. A new novel written by Freestar veteran and author Hawa Mega has been climbing the charts. Mech Horizon is a fictionalized account of a mech pilot whose dizzying career has her face off with the UC, Spacers, and leading an assault on Varun zealots. Although far-fetched, the book's already gained quite the following in the Freestar Collective, and more than its share of controversy. One critic said, mechs are banned by the Armistice because of their unconscionable destructive power. Glorifying them is not only disrespectful to the many families who lost loved ones during the Colony War, it's also dangerous. Dangerous or not, rumor has it that at least 2 movie studios are in a bidding war for the rights to the book. Enhance is planning to open up 2 new branches to keep up with demand in the settled systems. After an astounding 10th year without a single reported accident, business has never been better. From your smile, to your hair, to your face, and more, a representative said, Enhance ensures you have the final choice on you. The death of famed industrialist Ron Hope shocked the settled systems, and now SSNN has exclusive details on his death. It all starts with a scheme to steal farmers' land using a violent mercenary gang known as the First. The First intimidated, extorted, and in some cases murdered innocents in order to acquire farmland for Hope Tech. It turns out the whole scheme was orchestrated by Ron Hope. The ranger who took down Ron Hope says in his final moments Ron Hope offered extravagant bribes and threats, and it ultimately broke out into a life-or-death struggle. All of this have left those that survived Ron Hope in a precarious place. What will happen to Hopetown or Hope Tech? Our Rangers source said there may be other scandals Ron Hope had hatched, saying there should be a thorough investigation. Perhaps the Freestar Collective will agree. The House of Enlightenment is organizing its annual charity auction for the widows and orphans of Crimson Fleet and Spacer Violence. Last year, a private concert by classical violinist Alyssa DeMille sold for a staggering 70,000 credits. Mr. Singh said in an interview, although we can't expect a repeat of what happened with DeMille, we do ask that everyone open their hearts and their wallets for this worthy cause.
Working at the Office of Interstellar
A
Affairs is
carefully
honestly
prepared
my
SysDef
dream job.
ambush almost resulted in disaster. 6 Crimson Fleet vessels were lured into a fake distress call when a would-be savior Grav jumped in. SysDef plans were thrown out the window and a chaotic battle ensued. After all SysDef forces arrived, the outmatched Crimson Fleet managed to jump out moments before their defeat. This is yet another black eye in SysDef's never-ending struggle to contain the elusive Crimson Fleet. You're listening to SSNN. The House of Enlightenment is organizing its annual charity auction for the widows and orphans of Crimson Fleet and Spacer Violence. Last year, a private concert by classical violinist Alyssa DeMille sold for a staggering 70,000 credits. Mr. Singh said in an interview, although we can't expect a repeat of what happened with DeMille, we do ask that everyone open their hearts and their wallets for this worthy cause. The United Colonies was forced to close another crime ring investigation against the Trade Authority. Though it is widely speculated that the Trade Authority is involved in a wide variety of smuggling and theft, it has been very difficult to prove. The latest investigation hinged upon the depositions of 3 key eyewitnesses. But all 3 have recanted their testimony, leaving the investigation in shambles. Ryujin Tower was the scene of deadly violence. A break-in turned bloody resulted in the death of an undisclosed number of security guards. Fortunately, the break-in occurred during a routine security upgrade, so the violence was contained. Ryujin security managed to chase the criminals out before anything could be stolen. Ryujin CEO, Masako Imada, released a statement saying Ryujin would take full care of the families of the deceased. We will spare no expense in tracking down who did this and bring them to justice.